Hello. Thank you for taking the time to take a look at this webinar recording on healing attachment patterns. I'm Rebecca Bourne. I'm going to be your host for this webinar, and I am actually recording it and making it available to you. As our live webinar, I was actually traveling and found myself in a position where I couldn't host it live. So again, welcome. I'm glad that you're taking the time, and I hope that you find this helpful. Typically, our webinars will include a question and answer time, but because this is not live, I can't take your question. So I encourage you at the end of the webinar, you'll see our email and phone number. Feel free to give us a call, and we'll see if we can answer any of the questions for you. So let's get started. Today we're looking at attachment issues. I want to introduce you first to the concept of attachment theory, which was presented by John Bowlby. He presents the concept that attachment that happens between a child and a mother or caregiver is the most important beginning step for being able to create healthy attachment as an adult. He proposes that this attachment is not just a one-time event, but rather it's a process, that it starts at birth and it carries on through the formative younger years, and that relationship is crucial and has a great impact on how you're going to relate as an adult. Let me define for our purposes what we mean when we're saying attachment. Attachment is the ability to form an emotional bond in a relationship. And for many of you, when I first say emotional bond, you're probably thinking already, oh man, I'm in trouble because I don't do emotions very well. So maybe this webinar will help you think about how you can shift some of those attachment issues that you're experiencing. Attachment is, again, as the PowerPoint says, a connection to the primary caregiver. Now, for better or for worse, the infant brain is profoundly influenced by an attachment bond, the baby's first love relationship, and it's usually between the primary caretaker and that baby, and it's usually a mother, but not always. And what that baby learns from that caregiver is that they can manage personal stress, they can experience calm, they can communicate through emotions, and they can share joy and forgive easily, and the young child's nervous systems become securely attached. This attachment is necessary for emotion regulation. That when the baby falls and hurts themselves and the mother comforts them, that baby learns that they can quickly work through their emotion and come to the other side. When they get angry and they throw something and their mother helps them work that through, they again learn that they can regulate their emotions. They also learn that they can bounce back from misfortune. When they fall down and they hurt their knee or their favorite toy is broken and their mom helps by comforting them and working them through it, they learn that they can bounce back from disappointments. And so these skills become ingrained in the brain, and that attachment style that they learn shapes how they're going to relate as an adult. So a child who has a very secure attachment learns that they can feel safe in the world, that they can develop a meaningful connection with others. They learn that they can go out and explore their world and come back and feel secure about it. They learn to balance their emotions. They learn to make a sense of their lives. So that's the importance of the connection to a primary caregiver. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to look at 4 different adult attachment patterns that kind of come out of what our experiences are as a child with our caregiver. I'm going to look at 4 different ones. I'm going to then talk about some of the skills necessary for healthy attachment and give you some ideas from those skills about how to rework your attachment if the one you got isn't healthy. Okay, here's our first adult attachment pattern. It is secure. Now, I chose the statement, secure means being close is easy. If that were only true. Don't be misled by the word easy. I'm not talking about it being easy in the sense that there's no risk, because there's always risk. when you put yourself out there to be emotionally attached to another person. It's not easy that there won't be risk, but rather it means that you have an internal structure that gives you the freedom and the skills to connect in a relationship. You don't see anything wrong with it. You're not afraid of it. You allow yourself to experience an emotional connection. It feels good and it's okay and it feels safe. You know that you're safe in connecting because you can manage your emotions. You can even manage it when your partner hurts you or disappoints you. You've got the skills to know that you can work through it and get to the other side. You have tools to manage your stress and to make your own way through. Secure does not mean there won't be challenges. However, it does mean you have what it takes to meet those challenges. I want to give you a note here, something to think about. If you are in a relationship and you still feel alone, that will tell you that you're not in a secure attachment pattern, that something's not working, either in your attachment style or the attachment style of your partner. Because remember that your partner has also experienced a relationship with his or her caregiver, and that will lead them to develop their own attachment style, and it may or may not match your own. Okay, so the first style is secure, and that's really the one we all kind of want to work for. That's the one that brings you the most contentment and safety within a relationship. Now let's look at an anxious, preoccupied attachment pattern. That statement that I put there, it says, I want to be intimately connected with people, but they don't want to be with me. That's a belief that comes from a sense of insecurity. That's what this attachment pattern is based on, a sense of insecurity. There's an anxiety about, am I acceptable? Did I do it right? And this person will spend more time preoccupied about the safety and acceptance that is offered within a relationship, and they aren't really in it. As an adult, if you have anxious, preoccupied attachment pattern, you're very self-critical and feel insecure. You second guess what you say and do, and you seek approval and reassurance from others. However, that reassurance never relieves your self-doubt. You're still stuck in that place of, am I doing this okay? In your relationships, there's a deep-seated feeling that you're going to be rejected, and it makes you very worried and keeps you from trusting. This drives you to act clingy and overly dependent with your partner. Have they told you that? Have they kind of told you, back up a little bit here? Your needs are too big. Your life is not balanced. Your insecurity leaves you turned against yourself and emotionally desperate in your relationship. Are you always asking, are we okay? Because you're so afraid you aren't acceptable. And as I talk about this anxious, preoccupied attachment pattern, it sounds exhausting even as I talk about it. And it would keep me off balance, wanting to be in that relationship, but not being able to settle down into it. Anxious, preoccupied. The next one, dismissive, avoidant. This pattern has a belief inside that says, I'd rather not depend on others or have others depend on me. It's a belief and a behavior that says, I'm an island all to myself. I dismiss the need and I avoid the possibility. It is self-protection at all costs. And it works really well in America if you think about it, because we are a culture that says, pull yourself up, be independent, you have what it takes, you can do it all. And it kind of feeds into, I'd rather not depend on other people. In this pattern, you tend to be a loner. You regard relationships and emotions as being relatively unimportant. You live mostly in your head and you suppress your feelings. Did you notice I said suppress? That means that they're down there, pushed away. It doesn't mean you don't have them. It just means you don't acknowledge them. Your typical response to conflict and stressful situations is to avoid them by distancing yourself. Don't get involved in it. Your life is not balanced. You are inward and you're very much isolated, and you're emotionally removed from yourself and others. Now, in this pattern, if you are emotionally removed from yourself, then you don't have emotions to give to your partner to connect to. So you might be the one who feels very alone in the relationship, and you might be the one not making it possible because you're not making yourself emotionally available. That's dismissive avoidant. The next one is fearful avoidant. This one has that conflict inside that says, I want to be close, but what if I get hurt? So you're afraid of being connected, so you avoid it. And the truth is that in a relationship, you probably are going to be hurt sometime. But since as a child, you detach from your feelings, whether it's during trauma or whether it's in that type of a relationship with a caregiver where your feelings weren't important and you felt disregarded, as an adult, you continue to be somewhat detached inside. You desire that relationship and you're comfortable in them until they develop emotionally close. At this point, those feelings that you've been trying to avoid that were repressed in childhood, they begin to resurface. And because you have no awareness of them being from the past, you experience them in the present, and you bring that fear and that insecurity and that afraid of being hurt and that disregard, you bring it into the present. There is a recognition of the pain and hurt that connections can cause based on your past, and you run. And so you avoid and you get yourself out of it. And the reality is that you're no longer living life today, but rather you're suddenly reliving in the old trauma and in the old patterns. Again, your life is not balanced. You don't have a coherent sense of yourself, nor do you have a clear connection with others. This is a really hard one. Fearful all the time. You want it, but so afraid, so you avoid it. Fearful, avoidant. Now, I don't want to leave you feeling hopeless or bereft because you saw yourself in one of those attachment styles. So here's what will help you start to make some adjustments and give you some skills to work on to enable you to shift those styles. Because what I hope that you'll understand is that no matter the current attachment style you have, no matter what you're living out of, it can be changed and adjusted. The neural pathways in the brain can be reworked. Remember, I said that it is a child's brain developing these attachment styles based on how they were treated as a child. And our brain is so fluid and able to relearn things that you can really rework that brain pattern. So let's take a quick look at, I think there's 4 that I've chosen, 4 skills that are necessary for attachment. And you can work on developing these skills. Now, for those of you listening who have had sex abuse or trauma, you'll probably see that these core skills have been directly impacted by the trauma. And these are skills that you probably struggle with. And you're going to say to me that, oh, I can't do that. They feel unattainable, but I'm telling you they aren't. You can shift them, you can develop them, and yes, there's no easy pathway, but it absolutely can be done. And what's cool is while you're working to develop these attachment skills, you'll also be working to heal the impact of trauma. Okay? So the first skill that you want to develop in healthy attachment is develop a care-seeking system. That means that you are going to work to seek and get care, which results in connection from other people. So one of the first beliefs you got to develop and strengthen a muscle is to trust that others are available and will sensitively respond. Now, I hear the red flags go up. I hear the negating go up. It's like, are you kidding? There isn't anybody who's trustworthy. I don't trust people. They're never available, and they certainly don't respond appropriately. I understand that that has been your history and that has been what you've experienced. But what I'm going to encourage you to recognize is that that has happened, but you can be willing to learn about what makes someone trustworthy. You can do some studying. You can take a small risk, gain the skills to manage any disappointment that might happen. Start with something small. Trust them with, say, something as simple as, I really like the color purple. See what they do with that. Do they laugh at something that you trusted them with? Do they use it against you? What do they do with something small that you give them? And you can learn from that if they're trustworthy people or not. I've done that in my life. There are some people around me that I know I could trust with any inner thing that's going on with me. But there are also others I know who are very shallow and they will not enter there with me, so I don't trust them. I learn who I can trust, who is available, and who's not. Because not everybody is untrustworthy, even though it might feel like it. Here's another challenge to develop a care-seeking system. And I know that a lot of you are going to go, are you kidding me? The second point here is trust that you are lovable. Trust in self as lovable. Push past thinking of yourself as unworthy or damaged goods. When I'm working with people who have been sexually abused, I know that they don't like themselves, they don't have a sense of value, they don't think of themselves as lovable. And so what I ask them to do is to begin to look at themselves with self-respect, that we as human beings deserve to be respected. That's where you can start. And when you begin to treat yourself with respect, you will begin to shift out of I'm not lovable to hey, I am worthy of loving because we respect people and we love them. So work towards trusting the fact that you are lovable so that you can begin to put in place a care-seeking system. Seeking care is important in attachment because if you're not asking for help from people, if you're not connecting for people, trusting with a need that you have, you're not going to be able to emotionally connect. Okay? First one, care-seeking system. Second ability is the ability to give care. Remember that old advice, do unto others as you would have them do unto you? That's really what I'm kind of talking about. Sometimes the journey of doing your own healing has you so focused, you forget to be a safe person for others. Or perhaps because you didn't see people as safe, you didn't have that experience, you have no idea how to be that safe person for others. So the challenge becomes here is that each of us have to develop an ability to give something for the other person to attach to. I need to be able to be available in times of trouble. Now, I'm not only talking about, say, your neighbor needs a ride to the doctor or they need a grocery delivery. I'm not only talking about being there to help them with resources in time and trouble, but I'm talking about being there emotionally, that you are tuned into your emotions, that you are present so that you are available with your heart and with your spirit, that you are totally available, intimately, emotionally connected so that they can attach and receive at that deep level the care that you are able to give. The second point there is that there is a connection between a sense of security and being sensitive, providing a sensitive provision of care. And what I mean by that, the security I'm talking about are two things. First of all, you develop a sense of security through open communication in feeling understood. So when that has been developed in your relationship, there's security in the relationship that you can give care. And when that is present, you're more able and inclined to provide care. Also, a sense of security in knowing who you are. You've developed a sense that you'll be received and you're secure in the relationship. That even if your offer is rejected, you aren't rejected as a person. Then you can offer a sensitive care. Here's another thought about offering care to another person. It isn't about you getting something in return. It isn't about so you can feel good about yourself. Although that happens, that's kind of a side benefit. A true, authentic attachment skill in being ability to give care is to give that without thinking that it has anything to do with you. That it's about meeting that person where they are, sensitive to their needs, not yours. Okay? The second ability to develop is an ability to give care. Third attachment skill here's the ability to feel comfortable, first with your autonomous self, and secondly, free from a fear of engulfment. This is what I mean by this. Now, you know that your well-being is not dependent on someone else making it okay, whatever it is. So let me repeat that. Your well-being is not dependent on someone else making it okay. That's the understanding that I am autonomous. I have abilities. I am not drawn in and dependent upon other people to make me okay. Now, that may sound counterintuitive to this whole concept of attachment, but it isn't. Because when you know that the foundation of you is secure, that you're a separate person with an identity and skills all your own, then you can offer help from that secure place. You're autonomous, you're separate, your well-being, although enhanced by another person, is not dependent upon another person. That's autonomous self. The healthy attachment skill also means that you're not afraid that you're going to be swallowed up by others. Because if you think that if I step into this, they're going to engulf me and I'm going to get lost and I'm going to get swept into the drama of their life, then you have that fear of engulfment, and that will prevent you from reaching out and connecting to another person. A healthy attachment here means that you know that if you offer a connection to your heart, to your experiences, and to your emotions, you know deep down that I'm an independent person and who I am is safe from being overtaken by the other person. So that's what this is talking about. An ability to feel comfortable that you're a separate independent person and that you won't be engulfed by the other person. The fourth attachment ability here is an ability to negotiate the amount of intimate contact. Okay, another word for this would be boundaries. I'm able to know what I need emotionally and physically, and I know what I'm willing to experience and what I'm not, and I negotiate that with my partner. It means that from an emotional place, not everyone around you should have access to everything about you. That you have an ability to negotiate and understand who is that safe person to both trust, to give care to, and how much you can give to this person or not. I was recently speaking with somebody who was coming out of domestic violence, and that person had a belief at the time when she was in that relationship that the other person owned everything about her and that she had no rights to negotiate what he could or could not know about her, experience about her, and share with her. So this is talking about you understanding who it's safe to share what parts of you with and what not, and you have the ability to negotiate that. So, attachment ability to negotiate. Now, in summary here, what I kind of pull it all together is, first of all, you want to recognize what adult attachment pattern am I living out of? So you can go back and look at those four and see if you can recognize yourself in them. Know that your neural pathways are open to change. You know that thing that says old dogs can't learn new tricks? Not true. You can. You can learn new tricks. As a child, your brain helped you out. It helped you how to decipher and adjust to the experiences you were having. But now, as an adult, with the new knowledge of the importance of attachment, the need for attachment, and the longing for healthy attachment, you can gain the skills and open up the new pathways in your brain. You can forge secure attachments later in life. It's incredibly hard work. I get that, but it's absolutely possible. There's all kinds of new research and things being developed about understanding the brain. For example, spinal and cord injury people can relearn and redo things, and we can do this with attachment. Focus on those 4 abilities. Learn how to seek care. Learn about safe people. Explore trust. Learn about how to give care. Don't shy away when trouble is there. Be present emotionally. Balance, learn the balance to feel comfortable with your balance of self and others. Know what makes you you, what is yours to manage, what is others to manage. Know that you can not get swept away in other people's things, and develop your ability to negotiate intimacy. Move in and out of connection freely, not giving everything to all people. So there are some skills that you can work on, and while you're working on this, you'll be developing neural pathways to change the attachment patterns that you have. Okay, I want to invite you that if this webinar has been helpful, or if it's opened up even more questions and you want some more thinking about it, or you'd like to get a worksheet, or you'd like to push back a little bit, be in touch with me. There's my email at the bottom. It's rebecca@connectionssp.org. There's our phone number. And then I want to invite you, attached to our community. We have an online connections community. It meets weekly. We have a live weekly meeting. We provide restoration skills. Our thinking is that you have the capacity and the capability to reconnect to who you were created capable of being. And we work hard on that every week. We have worksheets every week. We pick a topic and we pick a word and we work on that, and we provide you skills and directions and then support while you're working to change it. And the Connections Online community also has capability of interactive support. We invite you to give it a trial run and see if it'll help you on your journey. We also have an advanced online course. This is a course that gives you the core skills of restoration that we speak about. There are, I think there's like 12 videos, accompanying worksheets, and then you can also get feedback from us. So we have some really cool online services and courses that you can take advantage of. Thank you again for taking time to look at this webinar. Give me some feedback, ask me some questions, and I'll see you in 2016. We offer free webinars the last week of the month, the last Wednesday. Be looking for it, and let's get 2016 started off with great new hope and possibilities and skills. I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.